जय हिंद बच्चों. Today we will do chapter 6 of class 9 and this chapter is about tissues. So what is tissue? What are tissues and where they are present, their structure, everything we will study in this chapter. So as we know, this all living organisms are made up of cells. In earlier classes also we have studied this. All living organisms are made up of cells. Okay? And we also know that a single cell can perform all basic functions. Right? We know that there is organism made up of single cell. We call them unicellular organisms, like amoeba. It's unicellular. So it can perform all function which is required to live. Right? So what all, like it moves, and it takes food, it takes gases, it removes waste. Single cell can perform all the functions. So there are organisms made up of single cell and we call them unicellular. Right? And in chapter 5 we have studied that a cell is structural and functional unit of life. So a cell has ability to perform all its function which are required to live. But there are multicellular organisms also made up of many cells. So if we compare here unicellular and multicellular, like amoeba, it's unicellular, right? And if you take it a human being, it's multicellular and made up of millions of cells. Clear? And this amoeba, see, it performs all the tasks. It takes food, it takes oxygen, remove carbon dioxide, remove waste, it moves also. So it is a single cell with nucleus, right? And it's a unicellular organism, and cell is able to do all its tasks which is required to live. Clear? But in case of multicellular, it's a complex body. If we see a human being, the body is very complex, and there are millions of cells. So just to maintain this body, to run all the functions, so we need even a complex system for that, right? So in this organism, each cell need oxygen, each cell has to remove carbon dioxide, each cell needs food, right? So how to do it? Right? So here there is a very complex organization system works. There cells are organized at different levels. So the first level is tissues. So what is this? Their cells. See, so in multicellular, each specialized function is taken by different groups of cells. Right? Like nerve cells carry messages. Muscle cells, they contract and relax and move our legs, hands or neck, body parts. And what does blood does? Blood transports food, oxygen and waste. Yeah. So a group of cells that are similar in structure and work together to achieve a particular function forms a tissue. Right? So what we mean by tissue? These are the group of cells that are similar in structure and they work together to achieve a particular function. Like for example, this blood, it's a tissue. Right? Nerves. The nerve cells, they combine and form nerve tissues. And if we talk about this blood, so there are different type of cells in blood, but their function is transportation. So the cells, they have taken one task of transportation of food, transportation of gases, hormones, waste. So it's a tissue, right? Like muscles, they have taken muscular tissues, we call, like they have taken task of movement, they contract, they relaxed, right? And they, so this way these different tissues, and there is a further organization. This tissue they organize to perform organs, tissue, if we say tissue, they organize for then form organ, an organ organized to perform organ system, right? So to run a complex body or a multicellular organism, we need this level of organization. So first, cells. So cells, those who are similar in structure and they work together to form a particular task, are called tissues, right? And for other system we will study in higher classes. So this chapter covers this much, right? So how cells they organize to perform, they organize and perform a particular function. So for the plants and animals we will do in detail in this chapter. Yeah. So we will study the tissues of plants and animals, right? So one question there arises that do they have the same type of tissues? Structure of the tissue of plants, animals, do they have same type of tissue, or do they tissues they function, they perform the similar function? Do they have same types of tissues, plants and animals? So we will answer this in this way. First we will see the structure of plants and structure of animals. We compare their structure, we compare their function, right? Then on the basis of that we'll see the type of tissues present in them, whether they are different or they are similar. So as it is, you know the answer, that they don't have the same structure. Plants, animals, they have different structure, they perform different function. Plants perform different function, and so definitely they have different tissues. So we'll take it there. So first is like plants, they are stationary, they remain at one place, right? And animals, they move for shelter, food, for mates, right? So plants are stationary, so what type of tissue they require? They need supportive tissues, those who give support, because they stand at one place, they have to suffer all the harsh condition of the environment, right? So they need those supportive tissue, so which provide them structural strength. So they need structural strength because they remain at one place, and they have to bear all the different conditions of environment. So they have the tissues, those who are present are mostly, they are dead, right? So because dead cells, they provide mechanical strength, and they need less maintenance. So this is one basic difference that plants have, the different plants they have from the animals. Animals, they move from one place to another, right? And for that they consume more energy than plants. So the tissues that present, they are living tissues mostly. So in plants they are mostly are dead tissues, and in animals these tissues are living because of their different in their functions, right? So one more difference is there. In plants, the growth is limited to certain region, right? So we have seen that plants, they grow lengthwise and widthwise, right? So it means that some tissue divide throughout their life. So plants throughout their life keep on increasing in height, right, and increase in girth. So these tissue which divide throughout their life, these are called the meristematic tissues, right? And they have tissue that don't divide, right? So these are the permanent tissue. So we'll study more about these in further top videos. So And in case of animals, growth is more uniform. We have not seen any animal with grow lengthwise or widthwise. It is more of uniform growth. So there's no demarcation of dividing and non-dividing region of animals, right? So it grows in all direction, like, so it's a more of the uniform growth. So that's why there's a difference in the tissues, right? So because of these fundamental differences in their structure, in their function, right? So these differences, they reflect the different mode of life these major organisms they live, right? So this is about introduction of tissues and why they are different in plants and animals, and we'll do more about this tissue in next videos. Thank you, students. Thank you so much.